We'll see chapter 14 today, particle kinetics, work and energy. So our continued discussion with particle kinetics. In this chapter, we are going to develop a principle of work and energy. We are going to see what is the relationship between work and energy. As we all know, work is nothing but force into displacement, and energy is capacity to do a work. We will see the relationship between work and energy, and we are going to solve some problems that involve force, velocity and displacement. All the things that we learn in chapter 12 and 13, some of those things we are going to use in this chapter. Then we are going to study some problems that involve power and efficiency, and then later we will introduce the concept of conservative force and apply the theorem of conservation to energy and solve kinetic problems. So this is something that we will do in the next video. So let's start with the concepts of work and energy. Let's assume that I have a particle here. I'm going to move this particle from here to here. I'm going to apply some force. This is initial position, and then as I apply force, it's going to move from distance s. So work done every time there is a movement, there is a work done. So work done here is nothing but force into displacement, F into S. The letter that we use for work done in this chapter is U. So U is equal to force into displacement, that's work done by a force. That's the definition. Now let's assume that a particle traveling a curved path is going from S1 to S2. And the work done here, if I want to know if there is a force is applied at an angle theta, let's say, then work done, I can calculate it as by F ds cos theta. As this theta is at an angle, work done is given as this du. Very small amount of work done, say work done from here to here. If I want to know this entire thing, I'm going to get very small element from here to here. And work done on that small element by du is F ds cos theta, or there is another way to write it by using this position vector r. Du is equal to F into dr. It's the same thing, force into displacement or force into displacement. Either way, you will get same results. So these two formulas that we can use to calculate work done, if we integrate these formulas from point 1 to point 2, we can calculate total work done from S1 to S2. So here, that's what we do. We have this, we have to calculate work done from here to here, S1 to S2. So if you want to do that, U12, that's U for work done, total work done 1 to 2 is force F dr, F dot dr, R1 to R2, or I can rewrite it as S1 to S2, F cos theta ds. That's both ways you can figure out total work done. We are going to use these formulas to calculate work done or to find out the formula for work done under different cases, and we will see that shortly. Also, if I want to understand work done graphically, this is a mathematical representation. If I want to know graphical representation, if I want to plot an xy axis and then I want to see how the work done to calculate, then I'm going to plot F cos theta here on y axis, total distance traveled on x axis, and whatever the area under the curve, if I measure it, that will be total U12. So to keep that in mind. So this blue region area under the curve will nothing but U12, and that's your graphical representation for total work done. So now there are three different cases we will be trying to understand total work done by a force. The first case is work of a constant force along a straight line. Second is work of a gravity, and the third case is work done by a spring. So let's start with the first case or first scenario, work of a constant force moving along a straight line. So here I have a particle is going to move along a straight line from S1 to S2, and then there is a constant force applied, let's say 100 Newton at an angle theta, let's say 30 degrees. So that constant force is applied. So here horizontal component of that force will only play a role, that will be Fc cos theta. Whatever the vertical component here will not play a role, will not cause any displacement from S1 to S2. So I'm going to consider only horizontal component Fc cos theta, and then I'm going to calculate the work done. So we know the initial formula F cos theta ds integration. So as it is a constant force, this theta is constant. I'm going to take that constant out of the integration. I'm going to simple integration for this formula, and I'll get final work done. Total work done is Fc cos theta S2 minus S1. S2 minus S1 is final total distance covered. So that's your S2 minus S1, and then we have constant force cos theta, cos 30, whatever the theta is. And that's the one first simple case. We have force into displacement, that's work of a constant force along a straight line. If I want to know this work done in graphically, a graphical representation, this is mathematical formula. If I want to know graphical formula, Fc cos theta on y-axis, S1 total distance traveled on x-axis, and if I measure this area under the curve, I will still get the same U12 work done. So all I have to do is measure work done. So this is Fc cos theta, this is S1 minus S2, and this length into this length, that area of rectangle is nothing but work done in this case. The next case is work of a weight. So let's say there is a gravity acting on this stick, and then as it's going to fall, there is a displacement, and as there is a displacement, there is a work done. There is a gravitational force applied and there is some displacement, force into displacement, that's your gravitational work. Or I can simply say work of a weight. How to calculate that? What is the formula? So let's assume that I have a particle is moving from this point to this point along a curved path, and I want to know what is the work done. So here here is going to move from another distance y1, position y1 to position y2, that's change in height. So I want to calculate work done by weight of that particle or work done by gravity. So here to calculate that work done, let's say this moves at distance dr, very small amount of distance dr is going to move. That distance dr is given by, that we learn in chapter 12, dxi plus dyj plus dzk. R is a vector, so I'm going to say dxi, that's distance travel in x direction, y direction, z direction, ijk, unit vectors, and that's the definition that I get for dr, very small amount of distance traveled here. Now total work done, we have a definition for curve path. U12 is nothing but integration f dr. Now here this force is nothing but force of a gravity. So this force is nothing but weight is given as minus wj. Now weight is acting downward, that's why the minus sign, and j is because it is along the y-axis and we use unit vector j for the y component. So this force I can rewrite it as minus wj. So here this definition will become minus wj, and dr I am going to substitute this entire definition here and I am going to rewrite it. So work done total is given as r1 to r2 minus wj, and then I have dxi plus dyj plus dzk. Now if you notice here, the dot product bit of j and I is 0. Same way j and k is 0. The dot product of j and j is 1. So only relevant components are here is this one and this one, and this one, multiplication of this one and this one is going to become 0. So I am going to multiply that, that's w into dy, j and j will become 1, and then I am going to change this integration, instead of r1 and r2 I am going to write down y1, y2, that's initial y position and final y position. So it will look something like this, y1, y2 minus w dy. Why? Because this j dot I 0, j dot k 0, j dot j 1. So I have minus wy. I am going to integrate this one. If I do that, what I get is this minus w y2 minus y1. That's my final position minus initial position, and that's how I can calculate work done. This is nothing but your potential energy mgz or change in work, but that's your work done here. Or I can rewrite it as u12 is equal to minus w delta y. Now very important thing that you need to understand is that this work done by gravity, if things are falling down, this work done will be always positive. If you are lifting something which is going upward direction, this will be negative. So you need to keep in mind what is your final position, what is your initial position. If you are falling down, y2 will be lower because it's down, y2 will be lower, y1 will be higher. So this term will become negative, negative will become positive. So something falls down, it's going to become positive, and if something is left, it's going to become negative. So keep that in mind. Work done by gravity, downward positive, upward negative, minus w delta y or minus w y2 minus y1. That's the second case that we get work of a weight. And then third one is work done by a spring. Let's assume that I have this spring here and I'm going to stretch it. This is unstretched position. I'm going to attach a particle here and I'm going to stretch that spring. Now as soon as I stretch it, the spring will try to pull it back, and that's your force by spring, Fs, that's your spring force on a particle. That spring force is given by minus Ks, minus sign is because it is opposite direction. I'm pulling this direction, spring is trying to pull that in that direction, so it's opposite direction of the force, opposite direction of displacement. Displacement is in this direction, force is in that direction. So minus sign, K is a constant for the spring and S is total distance, whatever distance I am pulling it here in this side. So Fs is equal to minus Ks. Now if I want to know total work done by the spring, then I have this formula here. So this formula I'm going to put, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take this force into displacement, value of Fs in my minus Ks into displacement, I'm going to put that here. So my force into displacement, it will look something like this. So total work done, integration S1 to S2, that's initial position and final position here, minus Ks ds. Minus Ks is my force, ds is my displacement. And then if I solve this one, I will get work done by spring, and the formula is like this. If you solve this one, you will get U12 total work done by spring minus 1/2 Ks2 square, that's my final S position, minus 1/2 Ks1 square, that's my initial S position. So that's the work done by spring. So we learn work done by three different scenarios. First one, work done of a constant force along a straight line, that will be F cos theta S2 minus S1. Then work of a weight, work done due to gravity, U12 is minus W delta Y. And then finally work of a spring force, if it is spring is involved, then work done is given by this formula, minus 1/2 Ks2 square minus 1/2 Ks1 square. You use this formula and then you can calculate work done in those scenarios. So let's solve a problem and let's see what we can do. This one is a solved problem from the book. Now what we have in this problem is the block. We have a block here and there is a spring attached, an unstretched position. So here there is a spring attached and then the spring is already stretched up to 0.5 meters from its original position. And now what you are going to do is that you are going to apply this 400 Newton force in this direction. You can imagine you are going to, as you apply this force in this direction, this block is going to move like this and then it's going to come here. What we want to do in this problem is find out total work done by all the forces. What are the forces on this block if this thing happening here? So as these blocks move from here to here, there are three kinds of forces are acting. First one is constant force, 400 Newton in this direction, which is actually causing the movement. The second force is force of a gravity. You are trying to move it in upward direction. Of course, gravity will try to move it downward direction. It's going to have downward force. And then the spring is trying to pull it back, so that will be a spring force. The normal reaction from surface, it will be there, but this normal reaction is perpendicular to the movement of our object, movement of this block. And therefore, this normal reaction will not contribute in work done. The only contribution of work done is only along the line, only contribution will be in along the line of this movement altogether. So here these three forces are going to contribute, and here what I want to do is find out work done, total work done by these three forces: constant force, spring force and weight, gravity. These are the three forces I have to find out what is the value, and I'm going to put that value here and then I'll get total work done. So for the first part is easy. The first part is 400 Newton applied in this direction, movement in that direction, so that force will be 400 cos theta. So here 400 cos theta, S2 minus S1. My S1 is 0.5, S2 is 2.5. So it's going to move 2 meters altogether. So I will get 400 cos 30 into 2. If I do that, I will get work done by a force, by this constant force. Then the second part is a spring force sign, minus sign is pulling, and then S2 minus S1. Now this one, S2 is again we have 2.5, S1 is 0.5, K is given, the value for K here is 30 Newton per meter, that's your spring constant is given. I am going to put that value here, and I can calculate spring force. And then work done of a weight. Work done of a weight is minus W delta Y. Now this one is moving upward direction, so the number here will be negative. Anything that moves upward for against the gravity, number is negative. So it's moving upward direction with total distance of 2 sine 30. So whatever the angle, if it is a right angle triangle, this distance will be 2 sine 30. So my delta Y is 2 sine 30. I'm going to put that there, 2 sine 30 into weight. So whatever the weight I have here is 10 into 9.81. 10 into 9.81 is 98.1 Newton, is downward. So here 98.1 Newton into 2 sine 30, that will be my delta Y. And then if I do that, what I'm going to get is spring force and work of a weight is negative, and this one I'm going to get positive. So if you want right now, you can pause the video and you can do this calculation. If not, we are going to solve this problem here. This is a solved problem from the book. So if you put numbers in, what you will get is the work done by this constant force is 692.8 joule. Then work done by a spring, you will get minus 90 joule. The minus sign is because the movement is in this direction. Spring is trying to pull it back in this direction, and therefore there is a minus sign. And then work done by gravity. Of course, gravity will try to pull it down. It's downward, but you are trying to push it up, so the work done will become negative. That's why the minus sign here, 98.1. Now all you have to do is that put these numbers here, 692.8 joule minus 90 minus 98 in this part, and then you can calculate total work done, and that total work done will come around ut is equal to 504.7 joule. So that's how we can use all these three formulas that we derived before for work done, and we can calculate total work done in this entire system. Now when you study for the exam this kind of problem, what you can do is that you can change the numbers. You can change this angle here. Instead of 30, you can say it's 40 degrees, 50 degrees. You can change this part. You can change the weight of this block, and then you can see how much difference is going to make you overall. You can change this force, instead of 400, try 800 Newton, and see how much difference is going to make, and then you can redo this problem when you study for exam. Anyway, so this is the problem, and that's how we can calculate total work done by using these three formulas. Now let's move on to the next part, which is related to energy. We have seen work done. Now let's see what exactly is energy, or how this energy is associated with work done. Any particle moves from A to B, you need energy. Without that energy, there will be no movement. Energy is nothing but capacity to do work. So let's assume that there is a particle S1, there is a particle this one at position S1, and it's going to move along this curve path. And when it moves along the curve path, there is this resultant force R is acted on it. Because of that resultant force, is going to move. Now as it is moving, when it comes here, what I am going to do, I am going to resolve this Fr into two components, tangential component and normal component. The rule here is, as this movement occurs, the only and only force that contributes in work done is this tangential force or tangential component of Fr. Normal component of Fr is perpendicular to the movement, and therefore it will not contribute in work done. Whatever the normal component, whatever the perpendicular force is there, it will not contribute in the movement. Only tangential component will contribute. So I am going to understand work done from here to here by considering this tangential component. So let's say as we are going to apply and only tangential force matter, I am going to apply my equation of motion for tangential component. Summation of all forces tangentially is equal to m_a_d, that's your tangential acceleration and mass of the object. From chapter 12, we learn AdS is equal to VdV. AdS is nothing but your tangential acceleration ds, and V is velocity, change in velocity. Now I am going to take this ds here, and I am going to rewrite this A is equal to VdV ds, and I am going to take this value VdV by ds, I am going to plug it here. And when I do that, I am going to rewrite this formula, and I am going to take this ds back here, and if I do that, it will look something like this. Fds is equal to mvdv. That's what I get here. If I take this ds again, to the left hand side. Force into displacement, if you remember, force into displacement is nothing but work done. So that's what I get, force into displacement work done is equal to mv dv. Now I have ds here, dv here, I am going to integrate it from s1 to s2, here v1 to v2 velocity. I am going to integrate this side, I am going to integrate this side. If I do that, I'll get here work done from s1 to s2 is equal to v1 v2 mv dv. And now if I solve the integration for this velocity part, what I get, and this one is work done, fds is nothing but work done, that's my u12. So I can write this entire thing as u12, total work done, and then I can solve this one. If I do that, it will look something like this. Total work done u12, that's force into displacement, is equal to 1/2 mv2 square minus 1/2 mv1 square. Now if you remember, 1/2 mv square is nothing but kinetic energy. So what we get is total work done in this entire process is kinetic energy at this state minus kinetic energy initially. So final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy is nothing but total work done. And this part is known as principle of work and energy. So here I have this total work done given by final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy. This is known as principle of work and energy for the particle. Now what I am going to do is that we are going to say initial kinetic energy as T1. That's the letter that we use for kinetic energy. That's what they use in the book. You can call it kinetic energy, but let's use the letter T. So letter T is kinetic energy 1/2 mv square. T1 is final initial kinetic energy. T2 is final kinetic energy 1/2 mv2 square. The important thing about this kinetic energy is that this kinetic energy is always scalar. It doesn't have direction, it has only magnitude. And it has unit of joule. It means what is kinetic energy? 10 joule, 20 joule. You don't need direction. So kinetic energy is always scalar and kinetic energy is always positive. It's because this mass is positive, velocity could be negative, but v square is always positive, and therefore kinetic energy is always positive or always non-negative. That's your kinetic energy T1, T2. So instead of writing this formula, I am going to replace this one as T1, I am going to replace this one as T2, and then I will get principle of work and energy as total work done equal to T2 minus T1. That's my final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy, and that's what I get, T2 minus T1. Or I can rewrite this part like this. I can take this minus T1 here and I can rewrite the equation. It will look T1 plus total work done equal to T2. You can look at it as you have initial kinetic energy, you add whole lot of work done, and now you reach to final kinetic energy T2. That's T1 plus total work done is equal to T2. That's what you get here. And that's your principle of work and energy, or simply put it, relationship between work and energy. Here in this case, relationship between work and kinetic energy. For the system of particle, if you have more than one particle, right now you are dealing with only one particle. If there are more than one particle, let's say lots of particles there, in that case we simply add that kinetic energy here. So kinetic energy here, initially total kinetic energy of all particles in initial state, then we have total kinetic energy of all particles in final state, and here we have total work done on entire system. So that's what we do it if we are dealing with system of particle. If we have more than one particle, we can use this equation and we can still solve the problem for entire system for all the particles. Let's do a problem from the book and let's see how we can use this principle of work and energy. Now what we have in this problem, there is a crane. If you can see in this picture, there is a crane and then it's lifting this beam. There is a beam. This is 2.5 megagram, that's 2500 kilogram. 2500 kilogram, it's a very heavy beam. It's not almost the mass of your car. 2500 kilogram. It's a very heavy beam. This crane is going to lift that very heavy beam, 2500 kilogram. What it says is the force applied by the crane is function of distance. That force is given as 28 plus 3s square kilonewton. That's 10 to the power 3 Newton. That's very high force. And that force is a function of distance. It means that as distance increases, the force will also increase. At 0 meter, it will be only 28 kilonewton. At 1 meter distance above the ground, it will be 28 plus 3 kilonewton, so on and so forth. So this distance, this force is a function of distance from the ground. Determine the speed of the beam when it has risen 3 meters. That's the problem. What's going to happen? Initially, the beam is on the ground. Initial velocity of the beam is 0. Now, you apply force F with this function, with this equation, and you start lifting it, and then it goes 1 meter, 2 meter, 3 meter, 4. It's going to go up. But at 3 meter mark, from the ground, at 3 meter mark, I want to find out its speed. It means I want to find out its velocity and how fast is going upward direction. That's what I want to find. And force is not constant here. This force has a function S. So for that, we are going to use principle of work and energy. How does it work? Initial kinetic energy plus work done gives final kinetic energy. So we are going to consider total journey from 0 to 3 meter. At 0 meter mark, it has 0 kinetic energy. 0 kinetic energy because 0 velocity. It's on the ground. Then you apply force, that's your work done, force, and lift it for 3 meters. That's your force into displacement, force into 3 meters. And then T2 at 3 meter mark, you are going to have some kinetic energy. So if you can get value of T2, you can calculate V2. It's as simple as that. So all you have to do is find out T2. 1/2 mv square, mass is 2500 kilogram, we know. We have to find out V2. Velocity at 3 meter mark. So this velocity of 3 meter mark is nothing but work done from 1 to 2. So what is this work done? This work done is nothing but work done, that's work done by force in upward direction, and then work done by weight. Weight is trying to pull it down, so this work done will be negative. And then this we have to find out UF, that's work done by force. If we can find out these two things, we can get total work done. Which means we will get a value of U12. You put the value here, that will be nothing but T2. It means we can equate it as 1/2 mv2 square, and then we can calculate V2 velocity after 3 meter mark. So now as this thing is a function, I am going to say for very short amount of distance, if it is going to lift for very short amount of distance, ds, the work done here is duf, this part, duf is equal to f ds. That's my short work done for ds, and based on that I can calculate total work done from 0 to 3 meters, or total force applied from 0 to 3 meters. And if I do that, I'm going to integrate it. I have duf here, ds here, so total uf, this part uf is equal to 0 to s, that's 0 to 3 meter, f, this function I'm going to put it here, 28 into 3s square into 10 to the power 3, that's for kilo, into ds. So if I do that, it will look something like this: 0 to s, 0 to 3, 28 plus 3s square 10 to the power 3 because kilo in ds. And now all I have to do is solve these integration. And once I solve this integration, I'm going to get uf, I'm going to use that here, and then I can calculate ut. So here we do that, we get this 28 into 10 to the power 3s plus 10 to the power 3 s cube. So if you solve this integration, you'll get something like this. Now all you have to do is put s is equal to 3. Put s is equal to 3 here, put s is equal to 3 here, and if you do that, you'll get value for uf. And once you have that, once you get value for uf, you can calculate work done by weight. Now work done by weight is nothing but minus w into y2 minus y1. Now here y2 minus y1 is 3, So total is distance traveled is 3 meters. So I'm going to have that minus Wm into G into 3 meters is going from 0 to 3. So here I'm going to have minus weight into 3. So I will get the number here minus, because we are lifting something up, and whenever something goes up against the gravity, you will get it's negative. If it is falling down, it's positive. So we do that, so we'll get value of UW. Now all you have to do is that calculate this part, put S is equal to 3, and then calculate UW, whatever the work done by weight, and then combine it here. So whatever UF into plus this one, so this will be a minus, you have to subtract this, whatever the number will be here, and then you will get total work done. That will be nothing but T2, and then you have to equate that here. So this is the value 1/2 2500 V2 square, and then you can equate that and you can calculate the value of V2. Now you can, if you have calculator, you can do this calculation. This is a simple calculation, and if you do that, what you will get is velocity is nothing but 5.47 meter per second. So what's happening here? All you have to do is do these calculations, put it here. This is nothing but T2. You will get this value. You have one equation, one unknown. Solve it for V2, velocity 5.47. You start with 0 meter velocity. You are going to lift it at 3 meter mark. Velocity in upward direction will be 5.4 meter per second. That's what the number you are going to get here. Alright then, that's how you can solve the problem. This one is solved problem from the book. If you want to practice, change the numbers, change the weight, change the distance, and see what results you will get for velocity. You can do that if you want to practice this problem. Let's move on to the next problem. In this problem, what we have is a crate, 10 kilogram crate is traveling from this position to this position. It's a free fall on this slope. This slope is smooth. It means it does not have friction. So as it is coming down without friction, we want to find out velocity when it reaches at this point. So it has velocity 20 meters per second here. That's your initial velocity. Because of gravity it's coming down. What is the velocity at this point? That's the problem. Determine the speed when it gets at the bottom. So here we are going to draw a free body diagram. The only force here is acting on this block is W. Weight is because of the weight it's coming down. And then there is a normal force from the surface, but as we know, normal force is perpendicular. It will not contribute in the motion. In this direction, the normal force will not contribute. Normal force will not contribute in total work done. So only force that will contribute in work done is weight. So here I am going to apply principle of work and energy. Initial kinetic energy, work done will reach to final kinetic energy. Initial kinetic energy because of the speed, work done because of the gravity will reach to final kinetic energy. If I know final kinetic energy, I can calculate velocity. That's the problem. Find out final kinetic energy here, find out velocity. For that, I need to know value of T1, I need to know value of total work done by gravity. That's pretty much it. That will be T2, you will get velocity. So total work done is work done by gravity, and that will be minus W delta Y. Now here object is falling down. It means our work done should be positive. So what's happening here is that minus W, Y2 minus Y1. Minus sign. Weight is 10 into 9.81. Delta Y is nothing but Y2 minus Y1. My Y2 here is 0. Y1 is something, it has some value. What is the value of Y1? If I want to know, I'm going to put x is equal to 16 here. So whatever x is equal to 16, 1 by 4, 16 raised to 3 by 2. Whatever the value of y, that's my y, and that's going to be positive. So here y2 0, 0 minus this value, this number will become negative. Negative will become positive, so uw will be a positive value. So here to calculate that, UW, y2 0, y1 I'm going to put x is equal to 16. So now all you have to do is put x is equal to 16 here, you will get value of y1, put that y1 here, calculate work done of a weight. This is easy part. T1, 1/2 m20 square, that's your T1, you have to calculate T1. So once you have T1 1/2 m20 square, and then you have this value of UW, this one plus this one is nothing but T2. Once you have T2, you can equate this equation and you can calculate V2, velocity once it reaches here. It's very easy. So here, first part, the work done by weight, positive, you are going to get 1569 joules. That's work done by weight. And then you are going to get kinetic energy here is 2000 joule. So total final kinetic energy is 2000 plus 1569. So whatever 3500 value is this one, 3569, whatever the value is here, you can equate that to calculate V2, and then final velocity will come 26.7 meter per second. It means you start with 20 meter per second velocity, and now you reach here with 26.7 meter per second velocity, and that's the problem. It's very easy. All you need to know to how to calculate final kinetic energy, and if you can get that, you'll get final number. That's it. It's very easy problem. Now let's do one more problem from the book and then we can stop. So this is a problem in which there is a boy and he's enjoying this water slide. So what's going to happen? He starts at point A at rest. So initial velocity at point A is 0, and then this boy is going to slide here at point B. Is going to come, and from point B is going to jump in this pool. The total height is 7.5 meters. As he comes down here, what we want to find out, what is its final velocity just before jump? Velocity at point B. Velocity of point A is 0. Velocity at point B, we have to find out. So the 40 kg boy slides down a smooth water slide. Smooth water slides mean whatever the friction, neglected. You don't have to worry about that because it is smooth water slide, neglect friction. Determine the speed and then find out normal reaction. So there is a second part of the problem. What is the normal reaction at this point? That's what the second thing is here. We'll solve the first part and then we will solve the normal reaction later. So now for the first part, I want to find out velocity. So I'm going to draw a free body diagram to understand what are the forces involved. There is only one force, gravity. A normal force from the surface is perpendicular. It will not contribute in the motion. It will not contribute in the work done. So gravity acting downward, so he's coming downward just because of gravity. I'm going to apply my principle of work and energy. Initial kinetic energy, work done by gravity reaches to final kinetic energy. Objective here is find out final kinetic energy and then find out velocity. So find out TB, that's your final kinetic energy at point B. Find out velocity. That's the objective. It's very simple. Now here in this case, TA is 0 because the boy is going to start from the rest. So it says that start from the rest. It means initial velocity 0. If V1 is 0, TA is 0. So it doesn't have kinetic energy here. All he has is potential energy. So all that as he's going to come with 0 kinetic energy, there will be a work done by gravity. And then he's going to reach here, that will be my TB. So all I have to do is find out total work done by gravity. So that's my work done by gravity. Work done YB minus YA. YB is 0, Y is 7.5. So that 0 minus 7.5 will become minus 7.5, minus will become plus. He's falling down, he's coming down. The work done by gravity will be positive. So I'm going to get 2943 joules. That's work done by gravity. So here, as he comes down, total work done by gravity is 2943 joule, and that's nothing but this final kinetic energy. It means this boy has final kinetic energy at this point is 2943 joules. Now all I have to do is put this 2943 here is equal to 1/2 mv2 square. I have mass 40 kilogram. I can calculate velocity, and if I do that, the velocity will get 12.13 meter per second. So he starts with 0 velocity. He's going to come down. Velocity at this point is nothing but 12.13 meter per second. That's it. That's the first part. Now we know velocity. Now we have to find out what is the normal reaction when he is here. Let's imagine this boy is just sleeping, he is not coming down with velocity. If that's the case, he is just sleeping, the normal one will be exactly equal to weight. That will be 14 to 9.81, whatever the number here, mass into gravity will be the normal. If he is just sleeping, if he is not moving, but he is coming down with speed, and as he is coming down his speed, this normal will be significantly higher. We want to know how high, what is the number for the normal. Now this is chapter 13 problem. Now here we are going to apply this, all the forces in normal direction. So here this is a curve, and as this is a curve, I am going to apply normal and tangential component. Normal component positive towards in this direction because that's the center, tangential positive in that direction because its velocity is moving in that direction. So I am going to apply normal and tangential component. All the forces in normal direction is equal to MAN. If I write down that all the forces in normal direction, NB positive, weight negative, is equal to MAN. Now again, if he is just sleeping, velocity is 0. If velocity is 0, this AN is 0. If this is 0, NB is equal to weight. But he is not sleeping, he is coming down with velocity. And more the velocity, more the value of AN. As AN goes up, NB will go up. AN, we know, by definition is V square by rho. We have velocity which is 12.13 meter per second. Velocity we know. To calculate rho, we are going to use this formula that we used in chapter 12 and chapter 13. So here to calculate this rho, I need single derivative and then double derivative of this slope. This is my slope. I have to find out single and double derivative for this slope. So single derivative for this slope 0.075 x square is nothing but 0.15 x. That's 2 into x. So here 0.15 x. That's a single derivative. And double derivative of this one is simply 0.15. Now what's happening here? This value of x at this point is 0. This is origin 0, 0. So x is equal to 0. I am going to take that 0, x is equal to 0, plug in here. So dy by dx, entire term will become 0. It means this is 0. This all together, this part will become 0. So only 1 will be there. 1 plus 0 divided by this term, which is 0.15. So altogether it will become 1 divided by 0.15, and that will be 1 divided by 0.15 is 6.667 meters. So it means the radius at this point is 6.67 meters. I am going to take that radius, plug it here. Velocity I know, I will get value of AN. I am going to take that AN, plug it back here. Now I have one equation, one unknown. I can calculate NB. If we have time, pause the video, solve it for NB. If not, we will solve it here. So you do that, you will get a value of AN here, some value of AN. If you put that value of AN here, the final value for NB that you will get is 1275 Newton. Now let's imagine if he is just sleeping, the weight will be, a normal will be 400 into 9.8, let's say 400 into 10, 400 Newton. So NB, if he is just sleeping, will be 400 Newton. But in this case, as he is in the speed, the NB is almost 3 times higher, that's 1275 Newton. The more the speed, more will be the NB. Now more the speed, let's say, V square, the AN will be higher and higher. As this AN goes up, to balance the equation, NB has to go up. So this NB will go higher and higher. So if you design this water slide for very high height, if he starts at this point, let's say, if he does that, then the velocity will be significantly higher. Say velocity here instead of 12 is 20, 25, 30. Then this AN will be very high, this NB will be very high, this boy will hurt himself at this point. So that is very bad design, you don't want that. And that's how we can calculate this final reaction, and this is normally in this point is chapter 13 problem. Anyways, we use principle of work and energy and we calculate velocity and we calculate the normal reaction. We'll stop here right now and we'll continue this chapter in the next video.